I am on the road that leads to Mountainside in St. Elizabeth, and I'm at a church that I'm standing here right now, and I don't know the name of the church. There's no sign on it. So what happened one day, just a few days ago, I was going to Mountainside. I was heading to Mountainside to conduct a business, and the taxi passed this church. Somebody in the taxi wanted a stop, so they stopped here, and I looked over and I'm saying, this church, what is this church? And I saw some graves and I said, wow, I could make a video on this church. Yes. So I came here today and I say I'm going to explore it, but I cannot find the name of the church, and I cannot find, I'm looking around and I just can't see anybody to ask them what's the name of the church. But I guess by the time you're watching this video, you're supposed to be able to see it, because I would have found somebody to tell me those information. So I'm going to enter over. We're entering over into the church now, and we're going to explore the ground of this mysterious church. Makes you wonder, why would have a church and no name is on it? So I've been over here before and I was looking for the name of the church. I say this church is on the road leading into Mountainside. So if you're coming from Burn Savannah, you're coming from anywhere back that side, Santa Cruz, and you turn in, then once you're on the way to Mountainside, you'll see this church. You can see that they added some modern windows down here, or a modern building onto the older building. But this, of course, is the older side of the church. Wow, they're gravel here. They're actually gravel here. They're ripening up very much and they're just falling off the tree. So when I came over here, I saw this plaque attached to the side of the church. And it said, "To the glory of God, this foundation stone was laid by the Lord Bishop of Jamaica, the Reverend P.W. Gibson, D.D., on Tuesday, September 11th, 1962, in the year of Jamaica's independence." So to summarize, this stone here, it was laid here by Reverend P.W. Gibson, and he was the Lord Bishop of Jamaica down back then in 1962. So this was laid on September 11, 1962 by Reverend P.W. Gibson. I'm not sure what the DD stand for. So So it's a church here for a long time. The design of the church is obviously a clear indication that the church is here for a long time. And here you can see it has the bell. Not every denomination will build a church with a bell. So maybe the church might have served even as a basic school, who knows? So this is a bell. Look up underneath it. And there it is. Does it still ring? So somebody would just come here and just knock this side and let it ring, the bell. It's an old bell, very heavy. But they don't ring bells these days at churches, do they? So the church that doesn't have a name on it, and I'll say by the time you're watching this, hopefully I see somebody and get the name to add it to the thumbnail. Alright, so let's now go and see who are the people buried here and look into their history. Look at that mountain up there. I think I live on the other side of that mountain. I could be wrong, but I think that's the case. I live on the other side of that mountain. Absolutely, I think that's definitely the case. And the sky is getting cloudy. It's raining in the evenings now. So let me begin. I see these two tombs. They are at the front here. So let me go ahead and read them. I'm gonna enter in. So this tomb, it says, in never fading memory of a dear husband, Philip Sidney Jones, who departed this life the 11th of December 1972, age 61. It says, life's race well run, life's work well done, comes rest at last. Lovingly, Iris. Iris. So I believe Iris is the one who wrote, have that written there. That would be the wife, right? So this is the resting place of Philip Sidney Jones. He died December 11, 1972 at age 61. Let me close this back. So now beside him, I believe, is his wife. Yes, it is. And on her grave it says, precious memories of a dear mother, grandmother, aunt and grand aunt, Frances Iris Jones. Yes, her name was mentioned over there. You know, her name was mentioned on her husband's tomb back in 1972. So Frances Iris Jones, she was born March 15, 1911, died October 2, 2010. And it goes on to say, she is dearly missed, Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So Frances Iris Jones, she lived some 38 years, or 37 years and some months after the death of her husband. That's a long time. And now the both of them are resting here beside each other. Out here we have what appears to be a child's grave. It's small. It's not as long as these ones. It's small. And here it is. It says, in loving memory of Pat Angela Scarlett, February 1980 to July 1980. So Pat was born in February of 1980, and then she died in July of 1980. So that's not a long time. That's not a long time at all. That's like about 5 months. So absolutely, this is a little baby that was buried, that died back then. Oh, I'm sure Pat would have been a big woman now, maybe a mother and grandmother. 1980 until 2025, that's 45 years. No doubt Pat would have, been a mother and maybe a grandmother, but death took her away the very year she was born. Hopefully I find her death registration form and see the cause of her death. All right, so here we are at another grave. It's grilled around. I'm gonna open the grill and go inside. And this is the resting place of Ezra Haye. His grave says, in loving memory of a dear husband, father, and grandfather, Ezra Haye, March 16, 1941 to April 4, 2001. Goes on to say, we cannot, Lord, thy purpose see, but all is well that's done by thee. So Ezra Haye, March 16, 1941 to April 4, 2001. Here we are at the resting place of Cynthia. Her grave says, a beloved mother, Cynthia Sylvia Buchanan. And they have Nee Blake. So she was born Cynthia Sylvia Blake, and then she got married and became Buchanan. She married into the Buchanan family. Cynthia Sylvia Buchanan Nee Blake, May 11, 1942 to August 18, 2013. Always loving, forever loved. So Cynthia lived quite a long time. Yes. 1942 to 2013. You know. This seemed to be a grave that was done probably, I would look at it, I would say maybe about a year ago or maybe some months ago. They still have the ply on it. That's a ply, that's what you call it. Here we have the grave of, let me get closer to it. Use the umbrella to give myself some shade. So, in loving memory of a dear father, grandfather, great grandfather, and husband, Wentworth Smith. He was born January 18, 1930, and he died February 19, 2020. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa. He was 90 years old. 10 years' time and he would have been 100. So he died 5 years ago. He was 90 years old, Mr. Wentworth. You live very long. On the other side, it says, God has you in his keeping. We have you in our hearts. Rest in peace. For such a long time, sir, you had become grandfather, great-grandfather, and husband. So his wife still alive at the time of his death 5 years ago. The grave of Wentworth Smith. This is the first grave I see over here with a photograph. And so far it seems to be the only grave with a photograph. So this is the grave of Millicent Eunice James Luton. So she was born Millicent Eunice James, and she married into the Luton family, Luton. So it says, in loving memory of a dear wife, mother, grand and great grandmother, Millicent Eunice James Luton, sunrise May 25, 1934, sunset August 15, 2014. That's how it is. You know, we all have a period to live, and during that period we lose someone that we love, and then our time come and somebody else miss us, and then those who miss us die, and then somebody else miss them. That's how it is. In loving memory of our dear father, Hereford Isaac Lewis. Hereford Isaac Lewis, 1924 to 2012. Your memories will always be in our hearts forever. Love. Hereford. That's the first time I heard that last name, that surname, Hereford. Hereford Isaac Lewis. Okay, look at this headstone. The standing headstone. Wow. Who does it belong to? It says, in loving memory of Shirley Norma Reynolds, Somalin. Born May 11, 1940. Died October 5, 2009. Say, sadly missed by husband Carlton, sister Theresa, son Cecil, daughters Judith and Alvarine, grandchildren, and also grandchildren. Your love and kindness will always remain in our hearts and thoughts. This is the grave of Shirley Norma Reynolds Smalling. So she died left her husband Carlton, and they have some other names also mentioned there. The sun is hot. I'm telling you. The sun is absolutely hot. I always bring my umbrella, to ensure that my phone does not heat up and stop working. I'm gonna go around and find out who's resting here. Right? It says, in loving memory of Melford A. Williamson, born January 3, 1923, died September 20, 2012. So that's Melford A. Williamson, born 1923. Wow. And then he died in 2012. So this is the resting place of Mr. Melford. Lovely tomb. They brought a lot of this one is artificial. This one is artificial. This one is not artificial. It's inside of a flower pot. I like the ones that are not artificial. I don't think the artificial ones are, I don't know. But look at the artificial one compared to the one that's real. And then there are some artificial ones over there also. This one is much better, in my opinion. We continue behind that grave, and we see the grave of what's this? Is this Thelma? I think that's Thelma. It's Thelma, right? Thelma. So in loving memory of Thelma Reynolds, sunrise the 17th of the 1, 1950, sunset the 20th of the 7, 2009. So she was 59 years old when she died. She sadly missed by husband, mother, sisters, brothers, and other relatives. The grave of Thelma Reynolds. There are not a lot of graves over here. So this video won't be very long. So we have these graves to find out who these individuals were. So let's continue. So behind Thelma, in Jamaica it does say Thelma, we have the resting place of Florence Barnes. It says, in loving memory of our dear mother and grandmother, Florence Barnes, born February 1892, died February 1986. So this is a person who, the earliest birth I've seen so far, she was born back in 1892 and she lived until 1986. That's long. She was almost 100. 6 more years and she would have been 100 in the 1990s. 1892 to 1986. Florence Barnes. And you can see there she's described as a mother and grandmother. She's now resting here on this church ground. Okay, so inside of this grilled up area, there are 2 graves. Normally, when I see 2 graves grilled up together, you think husband and wife. Husband and wife. Let's find out if that's the case. The headstones are stripping off like the paint or whatever they use on it, but it's still readable. This says, in loving memory of a dear father and grandfather, Hezekiah Scarlett, 1923 to 1989. That's Hezekiah Scarlett, 1923 to 1989. From afar, I can see that this person was also a Scarlet. Says, in loving memory of a dear mother and grandmother, Constance Scarlett, 1928 to 1994. So she died maybe 5 years. No, not 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. Because Hezekiah over there, he died in 1989, the husband. And the wife here, Constance Scarlett, she died in 1994. So I said that's 5 years. They didn't give the months. (1928 to 1994), and her husband 1923 to 1989. Husband and wife. I wonder how they met. Imagine you meet and then you start to live together and you got married and then you died and then the both of you are buried beside each other. Well, that's the way it's supposed to be, huh? That's exactly the way it's supposed to be. They got married, they lived together, they died, they are buried together. I love this grave. I'm not a fan of tiles with a lot of colors. But I love this grave. I like the way how they did it. You know, the concept is absolutely impressive. In loving memory of our dear mother, Agnes White, Aggie. So she was called Aggie. And that's what they do in Jamaica. You know, when you when you have a certain name, they'll shorten it up in Jamaica. So she was Agnes and they call her Aggie. She was born April 1, 1919, and she died November 10, 2007. Agnes White, Aggie. Remembered by children, grandchildren, other relatives, and friends. May her soul rest in peace. Agnes White. I wonder what Agnes was like. Aggie. I love the grave, Aggie. Nice grave here. Beside Aggie, we have the grave of Hubert. Hubert. Let me see. It says, in loving memory of Hubert T. Morris, a dear father, grand and great-grandfather, born February 1916, died February 2002. Only son of H.A. Morris, Mountainside. Okay. But he lived a long time. When person live this long, you hardly hear they talk about them being son. He was born in 1916 and he died in 2002, which means that he was in his 80s. I doubt that his parents were still alive, but maybe Mr. H.A. Morris was a popular man, maybe a popular businessman, because they put it on it, only son of H.A. Morris, Mountainside. And this is the grave of Hubert Morris. Okay, this grave is caking up, you know, whatever you want to call it, the thing is lifting up in the sun. Choice of headstone, the words are fading. Let me see if I can read it here. Would it be better to read in the shade or in the light? All right, it says, in loving memory of a dear husband, father, grandfather, brother, and uncle, Selvin A. Mullins. Is that Mullins? Yeah, is that Mullins? I think it's Mullins. Or is that Millins? See, that's the thing. It's hard to figure out. Let me pause and try to see. Okay, I try to read it like someone reading a braille. I think it say Millins. Somebody correct me in the comment section if you know this person. He was born September 18, 1938, and he died July 31, 2010. And beside Selvin, Mr. Selvin, We have here a grave that still has the wreaths on it. Still have the wreaths on it. I think it say mom, sis, niece, aunt. What's that? Maybe cousin. So they're putting it out, the wreaths out to show her relations to other people. At the top is mom, sis, niece, aunt, cousin, or cuz. It's not spelled out completely. So it's a lady that's buried here. Maybe a few years from now, you'll see her tomb in. They seem to love her very much. So there's a lady buried there. Hold on, let me go down here first. Alright, so this is the resting place of a man called Edwin Wright. So say, in loving memory of a dear husband, father, grandfather, brother, uncle, and friend, Edwin N. Wright. Born May 25, 1924, died July 14, 2007. The grave of Edwin N. Wright, 1924 to 2007. Beside Edwin, we have the grave of Calvin G. Morris. I wonder if he's related to the Calvin Wright, because the both of them are kind of right, close to each other. Here we have Hubert Morris, who was described as the only son of H.A. Morris, from Mountainside. And just at the head of Hubert Morris, we have Calvin G. Morris. So could they be related? Possibly. So in loving memory of Calvin G. Morris, born the 28th of the 3, 1948, died the 26th of the 6, 1997, a dear father and grandfather, so dearly loved and so greatly missed. So this is the grave of Calvin Morris, 1948 to 1997. He was young. So maybe he was about 49-year-old. You know, young man. 49 is not old. That's still young. Here are two graves down here. Another two graves grilled up. Another two graves grilled up. I'm not gonna go inside because I noticed that the headstones appear that there's no writing on them, that they have all got rubbed out. Look at this one here. Same thing happened with this one. This one also rubbed out. You can hardly see what was there. You know, can hardly see what was there. And the same thing happened to these two graves over here. The choice of headstone was not such a good one. You have to look for durability. Durability when you're buying headstones. You know, because some of them, oh, it look fancy, but you realize, this is not gonna last for a long time because the words are just gonna get rubbed out. It's open to the elements. Well, that one up there is not open to the elements. There's something built up on it. I'm gonna go up there and check that one out. I'm out here for over an hour now, and I don't see one individual. No, not one. This grave is inside this nice little thing here. I don't know what you call it, but it's built up around it. The grill is opened. They did not close the grill. I don't have to bring my umbrella. All right, there's no wasp in here. Oh, there's some wasp right there. There's some wasp right there. All right. Let me see whose grave is this. It says, in loving memory of our dear mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, and friend, Maud Winifred Mullins. Nee Braham. Okay, so she was born Maud Winifred Braham, but she married into the Mullins family. So she is Maud Winifred Braham Mullins. Okay. She was born May 17, 1913, and she died on June 30, 1996. So she was what, about 83 years old? They say, Father, in thy gracious keeping, leave we now thy servant sleeping. So Maud Winifred Mullins was a woman well respected. Hope I don't step into anything in this bush. She was well respected. They went out of their ways. I wouldn't say they out of their way, but you know what I mean. To build this monument for her. So people don't put this effort into your resting place unless they really love and respected you. It's sturdy and it's gonna last a long time. A very long time. Here we are at the grave. There's a lot of dirt on these graves. I wonder why. Look, a lot of dirt on these graves, these two graves. Guess when the rain fall anyway, they'll wash them off. All right, so this says, in loving memory of a dear husband, father, grand and great-grandfather, brother and uncle, Clifford Mortimer Braham, born the 12th of the 12th, 1908, died the 13th of the 9th, 1999. Clifford Mortimer Braham. Could he be related to Maud Winifred Mullins? Because Maud was born a Braham before she became Mullins. You know, so here we have a Braham here. So maybe Clifford and Maud were brother and sister. Maybe, I said maybe. Beside Clifford, we have what appears to be the grave of a female. Maybe this is his wife. I think so. I think so. Let me read her grave. In loving memory of a dear mother. I think it's clearer when it's in the sun. In memory of a dear mother, grand and great grandmother, sister and aunt, Gwendolyn Muriel Braham. Braham or Braham? Braham. I say Braham. She was called Miss Calder. Miss Calder. She was born April 4, 1918, and she died May 27, 2007. So she lived some 8 years after her husband over there. He died in 1999, and she died in 2007. And over here it says, "Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life, always remembered by all." No doubt, husband and wife. Husband and wife. I see that maybe during church time, they walk up a lot on these graves and dirty up the graves. So it appears I've read every graves now. As I say, it's a small graveyard here at this church. They have a modern building at the back here. Maybe for persons to sleep. I can see window curtain. And as I said, I've not seen. There's a house over there with the door ajar, but I'm not seeing anybody walking up and down to ask anything. Alright guys, thanks for watching. As I explored this church, I happened upon it accidentally, as I've said. And I said I have to come over here and document it. Thanks for watching. And I look forward to seeing you in another interesting video as this. I know I've been making cemetery videos a little less, so I'm gonna step up my feet and making more cemetery videos, graveyard videos. Thanks for watching.